Give me time to post it. Now we're live. Okay, we are live right now, and as we are live, I am posting the link so that everybody can come watch and see that we are live. Oh wait, I'm almost typed it on the wrong keyboard. We are live. We are living do. Okay, posted it. And let me go ahead and just introduce the show real quick. Hi everybody, it's the Unrest team. I'm just going to introduce everybody and then we'll just jump right into it. We got Rich, Dan, and Bjorn, that's it. Okay, we're here with me and Rich, and actually, I think this is mostly just going to be a discussion between you and I, Rich, is that correct? Bjorn, do you know anything about Conspiracy or Gamersgate? Okay, and Dan too. That's okay, guys. You know what? I mean, that's okay. If anybody's wondering what our topic is today, it is the Conspiracy, also known as Gamersgate. You know what I'm going to go ahead and do? Just give everybody a little bit of history about it, and Rich, just stop me and fill me in if I mess up what exactly happened. But I think I have it pretty well memorized at this point with how much it's been in the media recently. Pretty much what has happened is there has been a situation where a game maker known as, I don't know her first name, I just know Quinn.
Zoe
Quinn, that's right. Made a game called Depression Quest, which I actually did play myself. I actually went through the entire game, beat it. Not that it's very hard. I mean, I'm not getting into a game review though right now. I'm just saying that I played the game. And during the time in which she made that game, her ex-boyfriend posted a gigantic blog pretty much detailing her affairs with other men while they were going out. It was a 5,000+ word vlog, which, I mean, that had to be huge.
yeah, I saw it.
And it dealt with the fact that she slept with 5 different guys while they were dating. You know, the thing is, that's her business, and I don't think it's anything that we as the public should get involved in. But here's where Gamergate gets involved. It's the fact that one of the people she slept with is a game reviewer from Kotaku who gave her game Depression Quest a great review. Now, this is where people are saying, was that due to the fact that she was trading good reviews for sexual favors? And if that is the case, how much can we trust gaming media and gamer reviews at this point? Which I personally, and this is how I'm just going to start off the whole thing, I don't even care about the conspiracy or anything like that. Rich, how much have you trusted game reviews from like the time you started reading? I don't know, what's the first game review you ever read? I personally mean Nintendo Power.
I did have a Nintendo Power when I was younger. But the one thing I do I do put my trust in is Game Informer, because they don't seem to be generally biased as far as I can tell with some of the stuff that I've read. And I don't know, I like them. Kotaku I'm kind of like iffy about, and I mean, you know, with this it just really kind of put the nail in the coffin. And
yeah, okay, so you do have actual sources that you trust for game reviews. See, me personally, from like even the time that I was like probably about a teenager, I always felt like game reviews were like, well, these guys like the game, so what? Like, I always never matched up my likes with the people who reviewed them, so I always felt like this is pointless to me. Like, that's their, like, you know, they love the FPS. I fucking hate FPSs. I don't want to run around shooting people. I was done with that after Quake came out. I never wanted to play that again. But, you know, there's going to be people who do rave reviews of Call of Duty, which at this point I'm so bored with that game I can't even imagine playing part whatever.
Game Informer, when they review games, a lot of times when they're reviewing the games, they review it based on like lighting quality, how good the controls feel, and then they'll actually go into like the game itself. Like they have like ratings for all that, like art style. Even if it's pixelated, even if it's like pixel art, you know, if it's like pixel art well done, then they're going to give you like a high score for like art. But they've generally had that like kind of basis for reviews, whereas like places like Kotaku is just like, you know, a matter of general opinion.
Well, also, I mean, Kotaku, like, the one thing I'm wondering about is anybody who used that as a critical source of information on game reviews. Guys, I don't know if you know, but Kotaku writes a couple articles about stuff from Japan, and for the most part, I'd have to say they're very poorly researched. I mean, like, they really have no fucking idea what they're talking about. I'd say about 80% of the time. Like, sometimes they do an article, and I'm like, that's kind of true, but then they do ones where, like, Japanese men and women are not having sex anymore, and it's like, no, that's definitely not true, man. They might.
I saw Donut Head. I saw Donut Head there.
Yeah, Donut Heads from Kotaku.
That's my favorite one.
Super tiny subculture. I mean,
Eyeball licking.
yeah, eyeball lick. I don't know. Was eyeball licking on Kotaku? Okay, if that was on Kotaku, then even more, not a source to rely on. Guys, just as far as I'm concerned with Kotaku, they're shit as far as what they cover for Japan. So why you would trust them with games too, I don't know. Now, I'm not shooting down the whole magazine. If you read it, you enjoy it. I have even the app added on my phone, and I read Kotaku. But I don't really take it as a critical source as game reviews. So
kind of like The Onion.
Yeah, exactly.
Except
I mean,
it's not satire; it's just poorly done.
Yeah. There's some that I've just never trusted to begin with. I mean, anybody who read Nintendo Power magazine and trusted their game reviews was an idiot, because every game's going to be glorified in there. It's Nintendo Power reviewing Nintendo games. Like, they're not going to be like, total shit, don't buy it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to happen. So why you would use, like, you know, something like that as a critical source, I don't know. My personal feeling as far as this Gamergate thing is concerned, number one, I kind of, like, I wonder his intention, the guy who posted this, her ex-boyfriend, did he ever cite it as a source of don't trust the reviews you read, or did he cite it as here is my vengeance upon Zoe Quinn?
It is kind of, like, the 5 guys she slept with, all 5 of them were actually reviewers, and one of them was her boss, who is also married. Well, not anymore. But
so was he bringing it to his readers' attentions to say, like, look how much she fucked me over, or is he bringing it to their attention as look how much she's fucking over game reviews?
Kind of a little bit of both. Like, okay, here's a little here's my revenge served at room temperature here, and here is you know, the truth in your game review media and how that's not safe from corruption. And I don't know if you saw, but I posted something on my Facebook. One of my former teachers actually posted it. I saw from him this secret mailing list was revealed. These game journalists are all on this, like, I kind of want to say, like, a Word, like a Google Word drive together, and they talk about, like, various things that are happening in the industry and how they're going to cover it, or if they're going to cover it, and which angle they're going to take on it. So it's like they're kind of like conspiring all together, like, okay, should we ignore this, or should we go and do this over here? And
that's very interesting. Now, another game that recently came out too, that apparently people are saying this is another situation, which I find it hard to agree with, because personally I really liked it, was Gone Home. Apparently they're saying that reviews were hyped up on that they made deals with the magazines or the website or webzines or whatever you want to call them. But I've played both of these games, and you know what? I played them way before I knew. Well, I guess not way before, because Depression Quest came out quite close to the conspiracy. But I played both of them before I didn't know anything about these people or anything about the situation. I really enjoyed Gone Home. You know, I'm not getting paid by anybody to say I absolutely liked. I really love that game. I even expected a total survival horror. That's what I was going in for. Did not get it. It is not a survival horror. I still enjoyed the hell out of it.
I was creeped out the whole time playing that game. Like, I played it on the Psychodome channel. There's a video. The only thing that ticked me off about that game is they went and made it a paid a paid-for game, so anyone who had it for free in their Steam games list got it removed. And
What? Are you serious?
and it got switched out, and then you have to go and pay for it. At least that's what I believe happened, unless I downloaded it from their website and then I accidentally installed it. But I'm pretty positive that I had it on Steam. I'm pretty sure that's exactly where I got it from.
I mean, okay, well, I will say it was pretty...
That ticked me off, though, because I had it for free, and then it's like... And there was, like, no warning of, hey, listen, if you got it for free, you know, and, you know, we don't want to screw over people. But, one of the things that I read about Gone Home was the only like really off thing about that wasn't the like hyped up reviews. It was really well done. But the guy's best friend is a game journalist, and he went and gave it a really good review before anyone else even got a chance to play it and published it. So it's kind of like a fuck up on his part, on the best friend's part.
Well, I think you'd be a little more professional having that be your main business.
Yeah.
And depression quest. I mean, you know what? Like, I pretty much enjoyed it. Like, it was okay. Like, it wasn't bad. I wasn't like, what the fuck is this? Because I played through the whole game and beat it. But I have a problem calling it a game. It's a choose your own adventure. Like, it's just that on a computer. I don't know if anybody back in like the 1980s, 1990s read books called Choose Your Own Adventure. You pretty much leaf through. Yeah, you leaf through a book, and it says like, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? You know, if you do this, go to this page. If you do this, turn to this page.
Those were the absolute best.
How would you?
What?
What was your favorite Choose Your Own Adventure, Dan? Because I've read almost all of them. So.
Oh man, actually, I can't remember that many. The only one I really remember is the pirate cave one where you die by getting shot with a cannonball if you choose the wrong page.
There was one that was called like Beyond the Year 3000, where you're like a space explorer, and that was my favorite one because there's a part where you get sucked into a black hole, and the last picture's like your skeleton, and it's like you end your life by revolving around the black hole over and over again. And I was just like, holy shit, that's like fucking dark for a little kid's book. And like, it's just like this skeleton in an astronaut suit, and it was really well drawn. So I was like, wow, this is fucked up.
I know I read that one, but I cannot remember it.
Yeah. I think it was called Beyond the Year 3000, if I'm correct.
I should just go buy all of them again.
Right? I would love to. And see, that's the thing. We loved those books. And because we love those books, you probably would enjoy the game, too, because that's pretty much what it is. Okay, it has this outro. I mean, I feel like depression is something that's not tangible through a game. Like, it's not something, unless you experience depression, you can't, like... Even if you've been depressed and you get out of your depression and you have a friend who's in depression, like, you know they feel bad, but you cannot totally understand what they feel because it's such a deep, dark, unique situation for each person. And I don't feel like, unless a game got into like a super like existential like environmentally creating stuff that would be almost like have to be wrapped around your entire senses, there's no way you can truly experience depression. And I'm not saying that that's what someone needs to do with the game to make someone fully experience it, but I didn't get that feeling at all from the game, like not even slightly. Like I felt like I'm reading a somewhat interesting first-person novel, like, and I'm making a couple of decisions, and even the decisions you make, there's like 3, and I felt like most of the time the decision was like, okay, I know this is it's really obvious like what you're supposed to do. Like you have to be an idiot. Like it's like scream at your girlfriend and punch her in the face, or tell her you're feeling down. Like, you know, it's like stuff like that. I mean, it's not maybe that extreme. I'm exaggerating slightly, but like it's really obvious in that sense that you're just like, okay, I pretty much know what to do to make my character get better. Now, Rich, did you play both games?
I played Gone Home. I didn't play Depression Quest. I watched people play it on YouTube, and I mean, I really don't want to play it. I have a stack of R.L. Steins. That's more fun than that. So
Well, I mean, to be honest,
like
if you've watched somebody play it, then you've played it. I mean, there's not like it's not one of these games where it's like no. You need to play it to feel the experience. Like the experience is you clicking on.
It looks like shit. It looks like shit. I mean, if you're gonna do a choose your own adventure like story type thing, you can at least make it look good. Like shitty text on a white background isn't aesthetically pleasing, and on top of that, it's on the topic of depression. It's not something you just like make someone understand and feel. It's the hardest thing to make someone understand. I've been depressed for fucking ages before. One, I don't want to play a goddamn game on it. It's like, and it's not something I can just go and describe the feelings to someone. I was like, oh yeah, you kind of want to hang yourself, but you kind of don't want to do it, and you kind of don't want to wake up in the morning and eat, and it's not really something you could easily convey to someone and have them feel it and understand it. So it's like, one, choose a different topic. Two, make it look better, because, I mean, really, just shitty black text on a white background doesn't really do it for me.
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody can argue with this who's played it. There's zero groundbreaking elements in it. There's zero elements that make it stand out, like, compared to any other game. There's, like, I mean, I guess maybe someone could go with, they're like, well, it's unique because it's about depression. No other game is about depression. But, I mean, really? That's not really quite true either. I mean, there's games that have a deep sadness to them.
There's this free game. It's done with pixels, and it's a simple game, and it's got, like, these several few mini games in this one little tiny free game. It's called Social Dysphoria, and it tackles the subject of gender dysphoria.
Mm-hmm.
And you have like this, it's like, I can't remember what it's like a pronoun bot. It shoots out the wrong pronouns at you. So like if you're playing as a girl, it'll call you sir, brother, mister. Mm-hmm. And you have to avoid those and shoot the letters and try to avoid the wrong pronouns. And then you go and collect the correct ones. And you have to like try and defeat the system.
Interesting. So see, there's another game, and already that game, I mean, just from the description, I can tell it's a lot more complex. I mean, compared to
it's simple, but it conveys its point, and that's trying to make on a subject that is not easy to, have people understand.
Yeah, and it's pretty brave to actually even tackle that with a game, because that's a very polarizing topic, I imagine. And I guess that's what's going to draw us back into this kind of conspiracy conversation, is the fact that, do you personally feel that she probably manipulated reviews on her game to hype them up?
Yeah, definitely. Just watching people play it and how bored people were, like they weren't even enjoying the damn game. And I've not seen one person who was playing go, oh my god, I can't believe that happened. Oh god, this is the best game ever. Oh, it's so much fun. Oh, I'm going to go buy a rope and a stool now because I'm having so much fun.
I'm really into being depressed now. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm probably being very kind with my review. I personally had a very relaxing Sunday one time. I was like, what the hell is this? It's free. I'm just going to download it. I will give it that. At least it was free. If someone had given it a great review and then people had to even pay, like if they even had to pay $1, I would say they were fucked over for $1. I mean, I don't know. Like when Macromedia Flash first came out, I made a game for it, and you were a cross-country runner who had to make decisions on a cross-country path. It had graphics and everything, and I knew nothing. I still know nothing about game programming. I used pretty much the same game elements that a TI-82 calculator from Texas Instruments would use to make that game. And it was more exciting, more graphical, and more complex than what she made. So I have problems even calling it a game, more or less so like an interactive novel or a choose-your-own-adventure that's been made for a computer. It's like, you know, back when Encyclopedia Britannica was made for a computer, it still was a dictionary. Like, it still was an encyclopedia. Like, it still was just text put to a computer. No one would be like, this is a video game now. Like, they'd be like, no, it's just Encyclopedia Britannica on a computer. And that's what this was. This was a choose-your-own-adventure on a computer. Like, I mean, to the point that, like you said, it's black text on a white background. There's very, very little graphical element to it. I mean, there actually is like these Polaroids that show very abstract, I mean, pretty much abstract art that you could Google at any point and get, 100 images pop up, and you could just choose one.
I really wouldn't call it a game. Like even honest thing, I'm looking at it right now. It keeps calling it a game, marketing at a game, and I wouldn't call that. I would call it just an interactive story, or something along those lines, and not something that says game, because game implies that it's some form of. See, I don't want to say it's some form of entertainment, because it is a form of this is a form of entertainment, but
well, books are a form of entertainment.
It doesn't. Yeah, I know, that's why I'm like trying to choose my words carefully. But
well, here's the thing.
Want to say it doesn't enter the realm of games. It's It's just an interactive story. Interactive stories are not games. I mean, they're fun, but they're not. They don't qualify as games.
Well, here's the thing. If we took a game like Gone Home and we made it into a book, the dynamic would be completely changed. You'd just be reading, and it would be text. Maybe there'd be a couple pictures, but the interactivity that you have within the actual game that you play is not the same when you put it to a book. If we did that with Depression Quest, the interactivity would be the same. It wouldn't have changed. It would just be in a form that I could hold in my hand. So I think that's what eliminates it as a game, is the fact that it is the elements of a book put on a computer, which doesn't make anything an actual game. It just makes it a book put on a computer. So this is where the review becomes very shaky, where it becomes something that we can challenge and be like, well, gosh, maybe this is what she was doing. And this is not concerning anybody, right? If the roles were flipped, we're not taking this from a feminist view, from a male superiority view, or anything like that. If it was completely flipped, I would have the same feelings. If a guy made the game, slept with a bunch of female game reviewers, I would call his game crap too, and not a real game. So please don't take any element of this as me like attacking her for And I would also say if the 5 guys she slept with were just average Joes, or were just like, they were construction workers, or they were in fucking, stock trading, I'd be like, well, that's none of our business. Who the fuck cares? Like, we shouldn't be delving into her life, even if she did cheat on her boyfriend. That's none of our business. She can sleep with whoever the fuck she wants. But it's the fact that the two industries are ones that literally should not be sleeping with each other, and metaphorically should not be sleeping with each other. And that's where the review becomes corrupt. Now, would you say this? Yeah. Now, would you say personally, Richard, does this mess up any of your feelings towards the webzines or magazines that you already read? Like you said, Game Informer, you trust. Does this mess up your trust with Game Informer at all?
Slightly. It's like, I would really like trust it a little bit less, but I mean, Game Informer has been around for centuries, and they really don't seem to be taken out. I know they were called out for it a couple of times before, but other than that, they generally give honest reviews, and it's mostly the journalist. Like, you always have to worry about the journalist, because it's not so much the company itself, it is the journalist, the person who's writing the story, because it's not like the company knows that that one person was given a handout or had sexual relations with someone to put out a good review.
Well, actually, you make a very good point with it's the reporters that we shouldn't trust. I mean, that's already the situation with media in general in all different spectrums. I mean, just let's, for example, Fox News. You're only going to get a conservative right-wing view of everything in America if you only watch Fox News. And that, in my personal opinion, that makes it a non-legit news source. That makes it a total phony, like, one-sided review source. And I feel the same way about ones that are too leftist and liberal. Personally, I think if there was a truly legit newspaper, magazine, newsreel, whatever, it would have to have reporters from both sides and one that's on the fence to review every single topic that is in the news, which would take forever, and you'd be sitting there watching news all day just to hear every side and every viewpoint. So, I mean, at the same time, I feel like that's everything we read and review and watch and listen to online that is a review of something or reporting on something we should take with a grain of salt. Is that how you feel about like most stuff in the media these days, Richard?
Yeah, I feel like you shouldn't trust the company if something like this comes to light and they do nothing about it. Like they don't make any public statements about saying, "Oh, we'll investigate it further." And you know, if like the evidence like this is like so concrete that they don't just fire the person and get rid of them and replace them with someone else, then that's when you cannot trust the company.
And the point that you make there is actually a good one due to the fact that like when some of these big news sources are outed on stuff, usually they do respond to it and do take some sort of action. Like, I mean, if you had a reporter who was like, you know, fucking Al-Qaeda's the bomb, they're awesome, no pun intended, Al-Qaeda's the bomb, and you found out that the reporter was sleeping with members of Al-Qaeda, probably they'd be like, fuck this guy and fire him in a second, all right? You know, I mean, they would. They'd be like, okay, we're fucking, you know, our hands caught in the cookie jar, you know, we're fucking red-handed here, you whatever metaphor or, you know, symmetry you want to make, like, they'd be gone. They'd have to respond to that or everyone would be like, okay, you're fucking the most retarded news source I've ever seen. But you're right, and, you know, anyone in the comments, please correct me if I'm wrong, but Kotaku has not responded to this at all. No one really has responded to it. In fact, it's been shut down pretty hardcore by most media sources that are in this industry. Isn't that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right? They've not made any kind of statement, right?
I'm currently looking. I haven't seen it. Like I haven't heard anything, but I mean,
yeah. Let's be honest. Like this issue is about two weeks old now, about 2 or 3 weeks old almost, and we're late getting into it because we're not a game-based website. You know, this is we do stuff on a lot of games, especially games from Japan. But since this falls into games and is connected to the industry that is very much connected to Japan, which is gaming, it's something that we wanted to tackle and talk about. And really, YouTubers are the only people really discussing it. Twitter is somewhat afire with it, even JonTron chiming in with his comment that, you know, if I guess it started, the part of this battle started to get into feminism, which we're not going to touch. We're going to stay a fucking million miles away from that. Please, our views as of right now on anything feminism, we're not discussing any of that. So just don't.
You know, it's really sad, man. It's like people only do it for the money. Sour, but sweet.
So, and like, he responded to that whole situation by saying, in Hitmen, men are portrayed as savages, and I am not a savage. So, but then the funny thing, yeah, I think that's hilarious, and I don't know why anybody would take his comments so serious and be like, JonTron, you don't need to respond to this. You should totally let him respond and fucking break the ice on that situation. He's awesome. I always fucking love that guy. That guy's the funniest dude ever. But really, I think what he's trying to do is show that like everybody needs to calm down on the situation and not worry about taking sides. But at the same time, the funny thing that I heard about that when he did respond was apparently people in the video game reviewing industry were like, "Who the fuck is JonTron?" Like not a lot of people had heard of him within that. I feel like he's more of a legit source on game reviewing than the people who actually review games are. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of the YouTubers are more legit sources of like game journalism than the game journalists.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say like the bigger name guys. Well, there's a couple of guys that are big on YouTube that are pretty legit. It's like once you get higher up on the, I guess, YouTube food chain, it's like you can't really trust certain people as much because they're only doing it for the hype train and
And
only
a lot of
playing
them are
for
being
hype.
given the game to review. I mean, not necessarily review. They're being given the game to just play even. So if they play it, they're gonna be like, well, they don't necessarily have to attack it nonstop for every fault that they find in it, but they probably don't want to, run
Have
it
you
through
heard of the
the same
Jimquisition?
time and be like, look what a bunch of garbage this is. When Markiplier or PewDiePie is given a survival horror to play, if it's not the scariest thing they've ever played, they're not gonna be like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, they're not going to slam it the whole time, which is understandable, but at the same time, a partial review. It's not
Do you know
really.
the Jimquisition?
Say again?
The Jimquisition.
No, what's that about?
There's this guy, Jim, who hosts a show on The Escapist called The Jimquisition, and he gives a brutally honest review of games that he plays, and he also voices his opinion about the industry and everything. I'm pretty sure he's probably made a video up on the Conspiracy, or as some people call it, the Five Guys Saga. And he's like utterly, he's just brutally honest with a lot of his game reviews, and it's like if you give your game to him to review, then you have to be prepared, because if it's shit, he's gonna say it's shit. And he's gonna let everybody know.
A lot of these people who do these game reviews end up getting attacked by whatever they were against. Like they say, the Xbox version of this sucked. Like then they get attacked by Xbox fanboys. So if you put yourself into that league, you do get attacked from all sides. One of my favorite reviewers is Review Tech USA, and I feel like he always gives a very brutally honest review, but he constantly talks about how much he gets attacked. So. At the same time.
Well, no matter what you do, if you put yourself out there now on the internet, you're always going to get attacked.
Yeah,
like, just
very
like
true.
people doing live streams, they like those live stream play things, the Twitches. I mean, they get swatted all the time. People find out where they are and they just swat them.
That's insane, too. Anybody who doesn't know what swatted is, Richard, why don't you go ahead and explain it? Because probably not everybody knows what swatted. They think like flies involved.
Swatting is this highly illegal game that kids think is really funny to play, which can land them in jail for a very long time. Where when you see someone on on Twitch, the kid will go and find out where they are, and he'll go and call the FBI, claiming to be them. Usually, most of the time, that happens, saying, "Oh, I've got a gun, I'm killing everybody," blah blah blah, and then the SWAT team comes in and arrests everybody, which you can see a couple of videos of it up on YouTube. It seems funny at first. It's admittingly kind of amusing to watch. But it's horrible.
To be honest, when I first heard about it, I thought so that's a joke or something, right? Like that doesn't really happen, right? And then it really fucking happens. People call the FBI, pretend to be that gamer, and say like, "I've already killed my mom, and I'm gonna kill my dad. I've got a gun to his head right now." And you're just like, "Okay, that sounds like something out of a movie. That's ridiculous. No one actually." Yes, people have done this.
Just so people know, if you think about doing this, it is highly illegal. You will be caught by the FBI. They will track you down. It's only a matter of time, and then you will be arrested for it. And you can do some serious hard time for it. You'll miss most of your teenage years, your best years. You're gonna miss.
Well, not only that, you're gonna have to pay back everything that they had to use to do that. And SWAT operations aren't cheap. So you're gonna be like paying back shitloads of debt for like ever on stupid crap that you could have avoided. So yeah, I would.
Oh, and if you think people don't rape in juvie, you're terribly wrong. Watch some Locked Up Abroad. See if you can find some juvie editions. You'll know they rape in juvie too.
Dude, people get raped in orphanages, let alone juvie. Definitely, I know it's sad but true. I mean,
like that.
So I mean, there's all kinds of corruption, I think, in any scene, but this is the corruption that's in the gaming scene right now. Honestly, I feel like this guy went a bit overboard, reporting nonstop 5,000 plus word blog about his ex-girlfriend. If you're angry, you need to settle it between her and you, not the entire public, which I know it's probably affected her future professional career, but I hope it's affected his professional career too, because that's really uncalled for. I mean, that's almost like slapping the cuffs on someone.
Just nude modeling.
Yeah. I mean, and I understand his anger. I've been cheated on by a girlfriend, not 5 times, but at least once. And so I do understand like how bad that can feel. There was no point like after I found out that I felt like posting a whole blog about it, and it would have done nothing to her life either. I mean, it wouldn't have even affected her like this. So the fact that he did that, and like, I mean, I don't know what her situation is now, how much it's ruined her future, but it's definitely done something. It's definitely put some sort of nick in her career. But at the same time, I kind of hope it's done the same to him. I hope he understands that like he's paid a price too. How this affects the future of gaming, I feel like you should always take game reviews with a grain of salt. You should always check your sources, and at the very least, you should go with the most critical game reviews that are really harsh on how they judge stuff. And with the way Rich talks about it, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it sounds like the reason you like Gaming Informer so much is that they review the game in the way that someone who would make games reviews them, like not just looking at like, hey, it's got all the same skins from the last game, awesome. Like they actually like go into lighting, sound, like you know, a little bit of everything that really spans across the board of all the different types of multimedia art and programming that goes into a game, which is important. And
they also make a lot of corrections too. They have like a whole like correction segment. So if they were wrong on something, they will admit they're wrong, and will make corrections on it and completely cite which page and what information they got wrong and where to find the correct information.
Okay, well,
so, I mean, that's pretty legit.
Yeah, having an editorial, that's very important. Letting people know that you do make mistakes, you're sorry, and here's the correct information. I think I myself, too, when I report my own stuff, I get stuff screwed up, and later in a farther video, or even sometimes laws change here in Japan, and I have to make a new updated video and say, everything I told you about visas is wrong. Here's this. And that's something I think if you're going to do a review or give information out on something as a legit source, you need to be your own, you know, you need to review yourself as well and the information that you give out as well. Anyway, we've got a couple minutes left here. We've got 20 minutes or so left. We've got a couple questions, starting with Charlie, which I'm surprised Charlie says he hasn't read anything about this. If those of you who don't know, he's a pretty big Steam gamer. I know he plays just about damn near everything on Steam nonstop. He says he's stayed away from it. Why did he stay away from it? I haven't bothered to look up stuff about Gamersgate. Everyone's talking about the next-gen Android phones, GTX 9XX video cards, Windows 9 coming out soon, new Naruto game, and iCrap 6. So I guess he's more excited about new technology coming out than Gamersgate. And I will say, yeah, this will be the first and last thing we ever do on this situation because it's one of those things that you shouldn't, you know, go on and on about. I feel we should let it rest. He says a question would be, what good Japanese-only games are there on PC platform that isn't a spectacular fest, boring manga novel, or turn-based RPG? On PC?
Phantasy Star Online 2, the rerun.
Okay, there we go.
There is a English language pack, but it's super bad.
Oh, it's like, it's English. It's not English, it's English.
Japanglish.
Japang. Ooh, that's even worse. That means it's like, we must questing do. Bury a princess we must save. Yes. All right, interesting. Okay, so there's your suggestion. Oh, wait, he's got, oh man, it keeps going. All right, you know what? I'm just going to let that be the answer from your Rising Gaijin at our last Tenoji party said, is it possible to connect an American... Oh, I'm sorry. Is it possible to connect to American servers for online gaming? And also, is there a Gaijin gaming community? Well, I mean, usually you get to choose your server.
Yeah, you can definitely connect to other servers.
It's all game dependent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say if
the game lets you choose, you can choose. But sometimes the game checks your local IP and will set you up with people that are near you.
Yeah, so to answer that question, it's relative to the game.
But you can cheat your way around it.
Yeah.
What you can do is set up a VPN, too, with a location in the U.S.
Oh, that's true. Or use a proxy. That's another thing you can do. And then, oh, I'm sorry, and he says, and also, is there a Gaijin gaming community? There is actually a website called gaijingamers.com.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
It's okay. My only problem with it is that it's just a forum, so like talking back and forth is really slow. And I guess what's cool about it though is it gives you a list of every single game sold in Japan and how much English it has. So if you can even change it over to English, because some games you can, like all the Biohazard games can be changed to English. All the new Pokemon games can be changed to English.
They have a Facebook page, so I'm pretty sure if you go on there and you like that page, you can try get in contact with people on there as well.
Yeah. And I actually had a person recently message me who's moving here to Japan and is going to start a website, and his message was put into spam, as YouTube just randomly decides to do. And when I approved it to be in my approved messages, now it's disappeared, but he said he wanted to start something up. And actually, I need to get back in contact. I don't know how I'm going to find his contact information again, because after I approved the message, it disappeared. Common problem with YouTube. So there's people coming here, too, who plan to set stuff up. Another thing you might want to check into is a wonderful podcast I highly recommend called 8-4 Play. That's 8-4 Play. As in the Mario level 8-4. And they are a group of game localizers, which means like translators, in Shibuya. And there are, I think, 4 or 5 gaijin with 1 Japanese staff member. And that's all they do is they just translate games. They wait for games to come out in Japan, and those people look for the lowest bidder on who will translate it, and they take up whatever they can get via bids. And they have a podcast they put out every week. It's awesome. Like, those guys really know their shit. Like, they're constantly on the edge. They speak great Japanese, of course, because they're translating. And so they go to all these different game conventions here, translate everything that they've learned about new games coming out, and they can tell you a bunch about games coming out both here and in the States as well. So I highly recommend that as well. I think we're probably, unless there's any other stuff you guys want to bring up, I think we'll just end it a little bit early today. Like I said, it's not something I want to dwell on too much. Anything else you guys wanted to talk about?
Always check your sources.
Always check your sources. I think that's the message we want to leave everybody with. Don't necessarily take a side on this whole situation. Just always check your sources, because there's some sketchy stuff going on out there. You know what? Even check my sources. Even, when I give you reports on stuff, even check me out, Check me out, because even, like I said, as I report stuff to you about even, possibly getting a visa here in Japan, laws change, things change, rules change. Sometimes prefectural rules change. So always check my sources, too. Question everything you learn about a subject via, online media. All right? Sound good, everybody? All right, guys, next week we will be back again, same time, same bat channel, 2:30 p.m. in Tokyo time. We don't have a subject chosen as of yet. We will have a full group, I guess, again. Kyle crashed out early today. And we got 2 other people here, but they wanted to take a step out of this conversation, because really it's something you had to learn more than you wanted to learn about it to talk about. And we'll be back with a full crew, and we want to once again hand it off to you guys, the audience. What would you like to hear us talk about? We have many, many subjects that we enjoy talking about and can probably chat on about hours, but we want to do what makes you happy. Until next time, I'm Unrested. We got Richard, Dan, and Bjorn here, also known as Grand Rich Apocalypse. And Dan, do you have a online name?
Nope, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. When he comes to Japan, he will, and he is coming to Japan. All right, guys. Until next time, thank you so much once again for joining us here on the UnresTEAM Livestream. We will see you next week. Later. Almost hung up.